Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping straight into that big question. Who's looking good for the 2025 Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, it's always a hot topic, isn't it? Especially this early.
Exactly. We've gathered the latest power rankings, looked at Planet Football, Give Me Sport, Sporting News, Football 365, the usual suspects. And our mission, really, is to sift through all the noise, see who the genuine early contenders are, why they're rated, and what might swing it.
It's definitely a snapshot in time. Things change fast, but it gives us a good starting point. We should mention Rodri, of course, last year's winner.
Right. Fantastic season for him in 2024.
Yeah, truly deserved. But that ACL injury, sadly for him, well, it rules him out for 2025. So we're definitely getting a new winner.
Absolutely guaranteed. And just quickly, for anyone maybe not familiar with these power rankings, and not just about goals scored, are they?
No, not at all. They try to weigh everything goals, sure, but assists too. Big moments in big games, trophies won by the team, general form, consistency, all that stuff.
Sort of a holistic view, changing week by week, really.
Exactly. Yeah. A running checkup on the main contenders.
Okay, let's get into it. The first name that keeps popping up, maybe a bit surprisingly for some, Rafinha at Barcelona.
Yeah, it is interesting. Across like 4 different sources we checked, he's consistently right there at the top, or very near it. Planet Football, Give Me Sport, Sporting News, Football 365, they all have him high up.
Okay, Rafinha. He's obviously a quality player, we know that, but leading the pack right now, what's driving that?
Well, the big thing seems to be his Champions League form. It's been, frankly, sensational.
Sensational how? Give us a
You're talking 12 goals and 7 assists in just 12 Champions League matches.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nearly 2 goal contributions per game. Planet Football and Football 365 actually point out that this mirrors Messi's best ever campaign in the competition.
Messi's best.
Yep, and it puts him close to Ronaldo's all-time record for goal involvements in a single season. That's elite company. That gets noticed.
Okay, yeah, putting it like that, being alongside Messi and Ronaldo's best campaigns definitely changes the perspective. Is his La Liga form matching up?
It's very solid. Maybe not quite those stratospheric Champions League numbers, but the sources suggest he's on track for something like 13 to 15 goals and maybe 7 to 10 assists in the league.
Still very decent numbers for a winger.
Absolutely. A key part of their attack.
And trophies matter, obviously. Barcelona have already picked some up.
They have. Football 365 mentions the Copa del Rey and the Spanish Super Cup are already in the bag.
Okay.
But the bigger picture, at Planet Football, Football 365, and Sporting News all stress, is they're still in the hunt for a potential treble. They're fighting for the La Liga title and still in the Champions League.
Right, winning the big ones. That always boosts a player's chances significantly, doesn't it?
Massively. And it's not just the stats and trophies. Thierry Henry's even weighed in.
Oh, really? What did he say?
Sporting News reported him saying that, based on current form, Rafinha is actually leading the race.
Huh. So maybe not so surprising when you dig into it. The CL numbers, the potential trophies, a legend like Henry backing him.
Exactly. It starts to build a compelling case, even if he wasn't the name on everyone's lips maybe a few months ago.
Okay, Rafinha setting the early pace then. Let's switch to someone who definitely was on everyone's lips at the start of the season. Mo Salah.
Ah, yes, Salah. He started the 2024-25 season absolutely on fire. Multiple sources, Planet Football, Sporting News, Football 365, they all flagged him as an early frontrunner.
And his league stats were just ridiculous, weren't they?
Utterly dominant.
Yeah.
Leading the Premier League in both goals and assists. We're seeing figures like 27 to 32 goals, 18 to 23 assists across the sources.
That's incredible production.
It really is. Planet Football and Give Me Sport even drew comparisons to peak Messi numbers in terms of league output. Yeah. Doing that in the Premier League usually puts you right in the Ballon d'Or conversation.
So if he started so strong, why has he slipped back a bit in these recent rankings? What happened?
It seems to boil down to one main thing. The Champions League.
Liverpool's exit.
Exactly. Pretty much all our sources, Planet Football, Give Me Sport, Sporting News, Football 365 point to Liverpool getting knocked out, and Salah himself being relatively quiet in those key games against PSG. That really hurt his standing.
Yeah, the Champions League knockout stages. They're often where the award is won or lost, aren't they? Those big moments under pressure.
They really are. They stick in the memory.
But hang on. Didn't Messi win it back in 2019 without winning the Champions League or having a major international tournament that year? Planet Football and Give Me Sport brought that up.
That's a fair point, and it's true. Messi's individual brilliance in the league was just overwhelming that year. Give Me Sport highlights Salah's incredible stats as his main argument.
So could his league form alone carry him through?
It's possible, based on that Messi precedent, but the Sporting News adds a crucial caveat. Salah doesn't have a major international tournament this summer to potentially boost his profile or add silverware. Rodri had the Euros last year, which definitely helped his cause.
Ah, good point. No Euros or World Cup for Egypt this time around. Okay, let's pivot to Paris. Ousmane Dembele. He seems to be on the up.
He really does. Football 365 and Sporting News are both talking about his much-improved form, especially his goal scoring since the turn of the year.
He's scoring a lot.
Yeah, Football 365 actually made the claim he's scored more goals than anyone else in Europe's top 5 leagues in the calendar year 2025. That kind of hot streak gets attention.
Definitely. And PSG themselves are having a strong season, title aside.
Very strong. They've wrapped up League One, obviously. But Planet Football and Give Me Sport really emphasized their Champions League run. They're the only team left unbeaten across all of Europe's top 5 leagues. That's quite a statement.
Impressive consistency. And Dembele is contributing consistently within that, goals and assists.
Yeah, the numbers are good across the board, according to Planet Football, Give Me Sport, and Sporting News. But it's maybe his performances in the Champions League specifically that are really catching the eye. He's had some standout moments.
Right, and there's this potential narrative building,
Right.
a possible final against Barcelona.
Exactly. Sporting News floated that idea. Imagine PSG versus Barcelona in the Champions League final. It could literally be pitched as Dembele versus Rafinha for the Ballon d'Or.
A head-to-head decider. That would be dramatic.
Talk about a storyline for the voters.
Okay, sticking with Barcelona, but moving to the other end of the experience spectrum, Lamine Yamal. The kid is just electric, isn't he?
Phenomenal and so young. All the sources mention his age. He only turned 17 during the Euros last summer. He's the definition of a breakout star.
And already recognized too, right? Didn't he win the Copa Trophy?
He did. Sporting News and Football 365 remind us he won the 2023-24 Copa Trophy for the best young player.
And it's not just flashes of brilliance, is it? He seems to be delivering consistently.
That's the thing. Planet Football highlighted his dribbling. Apparently, he's completed the most successful dribbles in Europe's top 5 leagues this season.
Wow, at his age.
Incredible. And beyond that, all the sources mention his goal contributions, goals, assists are really impressive for his 17-year-old playing at this level.
I've seen some huge comparisons being made.
Oh, yeah. Football 365 mentions Rodri, a current holder, saying he sees Yamal winning the Ballon d'Or in the future. And Sporting News brings up the inevitable young Messi comparisons.
High praise indeed. And he's doing it in La Liga and the Champions League.
Sporting News confirms he's making a big impact in both. Loads of excitement around him.
Okay, let's talk about another Barca player, but one with a long, established history, Robert Lewandowski. Still going strong at 36.
Very much so. Planet Football and Football 365 acknowledge his age, but use phrases like electrifying form, highly productive season. He's not slowing down much.
And he hit a big milestone recently, too.
Yeah, Planet Football noted he overtook Gerd Muller to become the 3rd all-time top scorer across Europe's top 5 leagues. Just incredible longevity.
And there's always that lingering feeling about 2020, isn't there?
Definitely. That narrative is mentioned by Planet Football, Give Me Sport, and Football 365. The sense that he was, well, robbed when the award was canceled due to the pandemic. Maybe some voters feel he's owed one.
Could play a part. Are the stats still there this season? Goals in the big games?
Oh, yeah. Consistently good goal record in both the La Liga and the Champions League reported across the board. And Give Me Sport and Sporting News suggest he seems revitalized under Hansi Flick.
Interesting. So Barcelona potentially have 3 candidates in Rafinha, Yamal, and Lewandowski, depending on how things pan out.
It's a strong contingent for sure.
Right. Let's move to Madrid. Kylian Mbappe. For years, it felt like a question of when, not if, he'd win one. But this year...
It's looking tricky for him this year, seems to be the consensus. Planet Football, Give Me Sport, Sporting News, Football 365. They all point to Real Madrid's Champions League exit as a massive blow. Some even call it fatal to his 2025 hopes.
Despite everyone expecting him to win it eventually.
Yeah, Give Me Sport and Football 365 both mention that expectation, but the timing of the CL exit really hurts.
He's still scoring plenty of goals in his first season there, though, surely.
He is, yeah. The goal numbers are impressive. All the sources agree on that. But goals alone might not be enough this year.
What would he need, then, according to these rankings?
Planet Football suggested that for him to get back in the mix, Real Madrid probably need to win La Liga and the Club World Cup.
So multiple trophies needed to offset the CL disappointment.
Seems that way. And Football 365 also hinted at a feeling that maybe he just hasn't quite done everything needed this season, maybe some criticisms about attitude or performances in key moments.
Okay, so Mbappe facing an uphill battle right now. Let's hop over to Germany. Harry Kane at Bayern. He won the big scoring award last season.
He did, yeah, the Gerd Muller Trophy for most goals. Planet Football mentions that.
Right.
But they also had this interesting stat. Since that trophy was introduced, no player has actually won it and the Ballon d'Or in the same year.
Huh. A bit of a curse, maybe?
Possibly just a coincidence, but it's a data point.
Bayern are cruising in the Bundesliga, though, right?
Yeah, strong lead there. Planet Football confirms. But similar story to Mbappe, really.
The Champions League exit.
Exactly. Bayern getting knocked out by Inter. That seems to have pretty much ended Kane's serious Ballon d'Or challenge for this year, according to Planet Football, Give Me Sport, and Sporting News.
Even with all the goals he scored.
Yeah, his Bundesliga and Champions League goal tallies are fantastic. Everyone notes that. But losing in the CL semis, especially when others are potentially going all the way, it makes it very difficult.
Right. Okay, back to Barcelona one more time. Midfield maestro Pedri. Gavi's been talking him up.
He has, yeah. Planet Football and Football 365 both picked up on Gavi really pushing Pedri's case for the Ballon d'Or.
And beyond his teammates' support, is he back to his best? How important is he?
Seems like he absolutely is.
Yeah.
The sources stress his return to top form and just how vital he is to making that Barcelona midfield tick. Planet Football and Give Me Sport went as far as saying Barca looked, well, dysfunctional when he was out injured.
High praise. His manager rates him too.
Oh, yeah. Give Me Sport mentioned his manager giving him glowing reviews.
So if he's that important to a team challenging for major trophies, why isn't he higher in these rankings?
It's that classic midfield dilemma, isn't it? Planet Football and Football 365 raise this. Even if Barca win big, the spotlight, and often the Ballon d'Or votes, tend to gravitate toward the attackers, the goal scorers, the assist providers.
Yeah, the glory players, so to speak. Unfair, perhaps, but often true.
It often is, yeah. Midfield control, while crucial, is harder to quantify in those big headline-grabbing stats.
Okay, let's quickly cover a couple of others making waves. Declan Rice at Arsenal.
Yeah, he's popped up in the rankings, mainly off the back of those huge performances against Real Madrid in the Champions League semis.
The free kicks?
Exactly. 2 stunning free kick goals. Planet Football, Give Me Sport, and Football 365 all highlighted those masterful performances. Football 365 even noted he was man of the match in both legs.
But for Rice, or any Arsenal player really, it probably hinges on winning the whole thing.
That seems to be the feeling from Planet Football and Give Me Sport. Arsenal likely need to lift the Champions League trophy for one of their guys to have a serious shot at the Ballon d'Or.
Makes sense. And Lautaro Martinez at Inter.
Inter have had a great season overall. Top of Serie A, Champions League semis, as Planet Football and Football 365 point out.
And Martinez scored against Bayern.
Yep. Planet Football noted he scored in both legs of that quarterfinal tie. Important goals.
But his chances are fading a bit now. One source mentioned a poor run.
Yeah. Goal.com suggested a recent rough patch for Inter has perhaps dimmed his prospects slightly. The Football 365 did add that if Inter were to somehow pull off a league and Champions League double, he could potentially re-enter the conversation.
A long shot, maybe, but possible. Okay, finally, just a quick mention of a few others on the periphery. Vinicius Jr.
Yeah, Give Me Sport and Sporting News touched on him. Obviously frustrated after maybe feeling he deserved it in 2024. But this season, perhaps less consistent, and with Real Madrid potentially ending trophyless, his chances look slim for 2025.
Saka at Arsenal.
Key player, great season, but again, probably needs that Champions League win, according to Give Me Sport.
Florian Wirtz.
Brilliant season with Leverkusen, but Sporting News points to some key misses and the CL exit hurting his cause.
And Julian Alvarez.
Good goal return for Atletico, but Sporting News notes the lack of trophies and the CL exit limit his chances too. So, yeah, a few other quality players having good seasons, but based on everything we've seen, they're probably just outside that top tier of contenders right now.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. After that deep dive into the early rankings, who are the main names emerging? It sounds like Rafinha, Mo Salah, Ousmane Dembele are really the ones leading the pack currently.
I think that's fair, yeah. They seem to have the strongest combination of individual performance and team context right now.
But we've also got strong arguments, maybe slightly different ones, for Lamine Yamal, the sheer talent and potential, and Robert Lewandowski, the sort of evergreen goal scorer with that potential redemption narrative.
Absolutely. Yamal is the future star, delivering now, and Lewandowski just keeps producing. They're definitely in the conversation.
And the key factors driving these early rankings seem to be, well, Champions League performance is massive, isn't it?
Huge. Performing on that biggest stage, especially in the knockout rounds, seems crucial. And then just consistent high-level contributions, goals, assists, big moments throughout the season.
Right. And we have to stress, it's still relatively early days. This is all incredibly dynamic.
Oh, completely. One huge performance in a final, a surprise trophy win, even an injury.
Yeah.
Things can change so quickly in the Ballon d'Or race. Performances between now and the voting period are critical.
Definitely. So much still to play for.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looking at these players now, Rafinha's CL heroics, Salah's league dominance, Dembele's resurgence, Yamal's explosion, Lewa's consistency, whose story, whose narrative feels the most compelling right now. And what's that unexpected twist we haven't seen yet? What event could just completely flip these rankings on their head? It's going to be fascinating to watch unfold.